Live from tape, pre-recorded at our studios in Austin, Texas and Portland, Oregon, it's syndicated with Leslie and Ben. Hey everyone, I'm the Ben of that.
And I'm the Leslie. This is a twice-monthly podcast about television, genre, and storytelling in which we watch an episode of a show and explore the history of television one episode at a time.
If you're just now joining us, we're talking about that dang old King of the Hill, which ran from Fox from 1997 up through 2010. The show features the Hill family, a typical suburban Texas family, and their neighborhood of characters on their street in Arlen, Texas. The show was created by Mike Judge, creator of Beavis and Butthead for MTV just a few years prior, and who would go on to co-create Silicon Valley for HBO. The show was co-created with Greg Daniels, a former Simpsons and SNL writer who would go on to adapt The Office for American audiences and co-create Parks and Recreation, two shows that we could have and didn't cover for our previous season. The show ran for 13 seasons and a whopping 259 episodes, before eventually being canceled by Fox in 2010.
Mike Judge himself voices patriarch of the family, Hank Hill, a humble propane and propane accessory salesman with a very particular way of doing just about everything. Hank knows what he likes, and he knows the best way to take care of his lawn, hunt, and build caskets for his family.
Another one of my... That's not the episode we're covering today, but that is another one of my favorite episodes.
That's a really good one.
Where he obsessively spends a week in his garage building himself a coffin.
Oh, yeah.
And then that one kid wanders into the garage and sees him and Peggy sitting in their respective caskets holding hands.
Good stuff.
I love him. Peggy Hill, his enthusiastic and sociable wife, is played by Kathy Najimy. In addition to raising Bobby and her niece Luann, Peggy is much more community-driven than her husband Hank and works as a substitute Spanish teacher in the Arlen School District. My reasoning there is that Hank has 3 friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like most of the other community outreach is Peggy's deal.
That's very true.
Peggy's the one who's like, we should go to this fundraiser. We should go to this conference,
Meanwhile, he's like, I just want to stand out by the fence and drink beers with my friends.
I am perfectly content sitting where I'm already sitting.
Yep. Bobby Hill, voiced by Pamela Adlon, is Hank and Peggy's very weird son. If you know literally anything about King of the Hill, you know that boy ain't right. Bobby is very creative and deeply, deeply awkward and wants to have a career in stand-up comedy.
By which I mean he really just wants to be Carrot Top.
Sure. Bobby is kind of I feel kind of a breakout character in the show, in my opinion. I mean, they're all great, but Bobby just has a certain something.
Completely agreed. He's one of my favorites. I only have a couple of fridge magnets, but one of them is a version of the That's My Purse, I Don't Know You.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've told you about this, but for the listener, it says, that's my surplus value, I don't know you.
Yeah.
And it's Bobby with a gun. No, I love him a lot. Speaking, by the way, we did our Ugly Betty episode a while ago, and we noted that the actor who plays Betty's father is Manny Calvera in Grim Fandango.
Yes, that is true.
Pamela Adlon also plays a character in Grim Fandango.
Oh, does she?
And he pretty much just uses the Bobby voice. Which means that there is a little skeleton child in that game that just talks exactly like Bobby does.
That's incredible.
To the point where, Gloria and I were playing that for our stream a while back, and we were just going through this, and we interacted with this character, and we were both like, now hold on.
I never did put 2 and 2 together for that, but now that you mention it, I'm never going to be able to unhear it.
Yeah, it's one of the little winged skeletons that is making light bulbs in the light bulb factory.
Okay.
Luann Platter, voiced by the late Brittany Murphy, is the Hills' niece whose strained relationship with her deadbeat parents forces her to move in with the Hills. Luann has dreams of becoming a hairdresser and is enrolled in beauty school during, I believe, most of the show.
Yeah.
Hank frequently gets in fights with her boyfriend, who I forgot to mention in my script. That's another boy who just ain't right.
He just ain't right. Hank has 3 neighbors that he hangs out with: pest control man and professional government distruster Dale Gribble, voiced by Johnny Hardwick; Army barber Bill Dotree, voiced by Stephen Root, who we previously talked about on News Radio; and the mysterious and mumbly Boomhauer, also voiced by Mike Judge.
These characters, combined with John Redcorn, Nancy, and Joseph Gribble, the Suponisophone family, Hank's boss Buck Strickland, and singer Chuck Mangione for some reason, round out an incredible cast of characters and paint a picture of weird suburban life in Arlen. Last but not least, the episode that we watched today was Season 1, Episode 9, Peggy the Boggle Champ. After winning a Boggle tournament at a community fundraiser event, Peggy Hill gets invited to attend the statewide Texas Boggle Championship. Initially hesitant to visit Dallas with Peggy, Hank changes his mind when he realizes he can spend the weekend with Dale, Bill, and Boomhauer at a nearby lawnmower convention. But when Peggy finds herself under pressure against Boggle champion Sissy Cobb, voiced by Laurie Metcalf, she wishes her husband/coach was actually by her side instead of experiencing the latest in VR lawn mowing technology. Meanwhile, the kids, Bobby and Luann, are left home alone, which is an adventure of its own.
Well, all right. Let's go ahead and get into this. So, Ben, this was your staff pick. So, the usual first two questions: why King of the Hill, and why this episode?
Okay, look, I like adult animated television. Maybe more so than workplace comedies. A lot of the shows that I think we're probably going to end up covering this season are stuff I've watched.
Right.
Whereas previously, I'd never seen News Radio, Workaholics, or MASH, well, I don't know, about half of those shows. But of all of them, I don't know if this is a fair way to categorize people or whatever, but like, I am not a Simpsons person. I am a King of the Hill person.
Sure.
Which I acknowledge, obviously, that, maybe that's a generational thing. Although this show came out when I was like 3, so that's probably can't be it. But, since Simpsons came out like a full 10 years prior to King of the Hill, that's got to be a factor. I don't know. This is the one I latched on to. This is the animated family sitcom that I enjoy.
Right on.
I feel like that's going to be one of the common threads as we cover these, that a lot of them are just animated family sitcoms.
Yeah.
Certainly that's the premise of Simpsons and King of the Hill. That's the premise of Family Guy and Bob's Burgers. There's like a slew of weird there's a slew of weird Bob's Burgers spinoffs, or like that parrot that art style that are popular right now, or at least they keep getting made.
Yeah, there's Central Park, I know for sure, that's on Apple TV Plus.
I think there's like an Alaska one with Nick Offerman.
Well, I'm with you. I say I'm with you as if we've discussed this on tape before, but I know we've discussed this as people. That I have a hard time once I have established which property by which animator / creator I have decided I like. I have a hard time watching other things that are in a similar style.
Sure.
So I haven't watched Central Park or anything else that has come out in the Bob's Burger style because I like Bob's Burgers so much. Of course, obviously, King of the Hill is a little bit different because I would argue, obviously, Beavis and Butthead was very much in the same art style. However, Mike Judge is a genius, and there was such a huge gap for me in years in terms of how, like, when I watched Beavis and Butthead and when I watched King of the Hill, that it was not, I didn't really experience that phenomenon, thankfully, because they're both great shows in their own right.
Yeah, I get you. Just like obviously animated family sitcoms are a huge staple of this genre. This I saw it before I saw Simpsons, which means this is the one I like latched onto.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I only ever saw it like 3 years before I saw Simpsons, but that was enough.
Still counts.
I like it's kind of more. Not in comparison to Simpsons, because certainly Simpsons has a lot of fun subtlety to it.
Yeah.
But I like it's like kind of more subtle, like comedy writing.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of explicit jokes, but then there's just like a lot of like good beats. A lot of like implicit background comedy that I really appreciate. I don't know. I just like its style. I like its characters. I like his neighbors. I like Dale.
Yeah, it's a lot of slice of life stuff, and it's a lot of quote unquote simple living kind of stuff. But the thing that you need to understand about this is that it's a different experience watching it as somebody who lives in Texas. Like, if you don't live in Texas, or if you've never lived in Texas, there is a lot of stuff that is included that is absolutely a love letter to the state of Texas and environs. And I didn't realize it the first time I watched King of the Hill. I still lived in Alabama, and then when I rewatched it again when I lived in Texas, I was like, "Oh my god, that's totally a reference to such a thing." Like for example, Luann is named after a platter, literally a plate at a cafeteria style restaurant here called Luby's. Uh, there's a platter there literally named the Luann platter, and it's like their most popular platter because it's
Oh,
like a
that's so
meat
funny.
and two veg thing. Yeah, so it's really it's. I love this show so much. I'm so glad you chose this show.
Yeah, me too. It's also like kind of funny because obviously, this is our first foray into adult animation
Yep.
for this show. But obviously, you and I have covered BoJack Horseman extensively in the past. Folks, if you're not familiar, Leslie and I did a show that ended right before we started syndicated, called "Of Horses and Men" with Leslie and Ben,
Yep.
which was an episode by episode breakdown of the first four seasons of BoJack Horseman. And so, like, if the question is like, "Hey, what's your favorite adult animated show?" Well, the answer is BoJack Horseman,
Yeah.
but the follow up answer is King of the Hill, and that's where we are right now. Yeah, we're kind of in an interesting position because we're starting a genre,
Yeah. Yeah. We're
um,
starting a new genre.
which ostensibly we're only doing every 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. I think this is kind of archetypical of a lot of what's to follow. It's one of the early ones. We're discussing a genre that's like really only 30 years old at most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's not quite. It's not quite like okay. A solid half of like adult animation seems to be like stoner comedy.
Yeah.
But this isn't quite there. But obviously, it certainly has crossover appeal there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like a good nexus point to start with.
This one is a great jumping off point, mostly because it doesn't have a lot. So it is adult comedy, it is adult animation, but unlike a lot of the kind of ill-advised adult animation that has come out recently, does not rely upon blue jokes. It doesn't rely upon offensiveness or the fact that, oh, adults are watching this, so we get to do swears and things. Like the comedy is still very pure and the comedy is still very accessible. And I think that's probably why it's one of my absolute favorites.
There are plenty of benefits to animation, and I love animated material. So I want to, I really don't think that new Cowboy Bebop show that's live action looks good.
You don't think
Um,
so?
no, I think it looks boring.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't really have, I don't know. It could go either way for me.
sure.
I remain optimistic.
They keep showing. This is going to be very topical, folks. They keep showing clips of it contrasted against clips from the anime,
I have noticed that. I have noticed that
and
they've been doing that.
in almost every case, the anime looks so much more interesting. Um,
Oh my goodness.
like they showed the ship landing into the water or whatever, and like it's for some reason it's all like Zack Snyder brown.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and they showed Spike in his fight in that church or whatever, and like it just the choreography is like way more awkward and not as quick cut as the
Uh-huh.
anime was. Anyway, whatever. That's kind of to the side. My caveat being is that I value and respect animation as a medium, and I greatly appreciate it. I don't largely think that like look, I largely don't think comics need to be adapted into other mediums.
Sure.
I understand why manga is frequently adapted into anime. That's fine and good.
Yeah.
But like when people announce, like Netflix has announced a slew of, look, we're doing live action Cowboy Bebop, live action Death Note, live action,
Yeah.
all that. I don't think that's
It
necessary.
kind of feels like low-hanging fruit at this point for
Yeah.
Netflix.
So I just want to say that I value and respect animation and all that jazz. Before I say this, King of the Hill doesn't necessarily need to be animated.
That yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, because
Um,
there isn't a lot of there's not a lot of stuff that
Fantastical
happens
elements
that
or
happens in King of the Hill that necessitates animation that could not be done live action.
characters are very straightforward. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of like, like the idea behind like a good. I know this applies to animation and like comic books and whatnot, but like the idea of like a good character design is one that you can tell what it is in silhouette. You know, that like
Yeah, definitely.
1970s comic book Wolverine has like a very distinct silhouette. So does
Uh-huh.
Batman.
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of jazz. Um, you know, like these characters, and certainly if you showed me a silhouette of Bobby Hill, I would know who that is. Like that being said, the King of the Hill characters are like they are 6 foot, they are average build, they're you know what
Yeah.
I'm getting at? Like
Yeah,
they look
yeah.
like people.
Yeah.
They don't have like super exaggerated forms or hell, folks, after this we're gonna cover Rick and Morty. Like,
Oh yeah.
everyone on that show has like string bean arms.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone on this show is like very proportional.
Yeah.
And no one has a horse head. And
Right. And there are no
and
anthropomorphic animals,
yeah, and no one
everybody's
has like a giant bulked up Captain America chest, or no one looks like the Family Guy dad whose name I don't know. You
oh
know.
God. Peter.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure, right.
Peter Griffin.
You know what I mean? Like these are literally just caricatures of people. Not even caricatures, because caricatures imply exaggeration.
Right.
These are just like I mean, not quite obviously, but these are just what people look like.
Yeah.
Which means it doesn't necessarily need to be animated, I don't think, but I'm like glad it is. I like the way it looks. I like this art style, which, as you said, kind of carries over from Beavis and Butthead.
Yes, it does.
Um,
Which is
I
fine.
like, yeah, I like how like kind of low detail it is in places. Like there aren't a lot of lines on faces.
Yeah.
Everyone's got very simple expressions, but I think it really sells it very well.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we're going to be talking about a lot more in this season as opposed to past seasons, because we're, in the past season, we just talked about people and what they really look like. Whereas, now we have to deal with like levels of stylization and animation and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
How it looks is so much more important now.
Yeah.
Because the point is how it looks.
So that's why you picked King of the Hill. So
Mm-hmm.
why the Boggle episode?
I think it's sweet.
It's really sweet.
Obviously, Luann and Bobby don't have a ton to do in this one.
Yep.
The B plot of this episode is that Luann and Bobby, while Hank and Peggy are out of town, literally just spend their time at home. And Bobby accidentally gets like a ring on the coffee table after not using a coaster.
Yeah.
And then that like leads to a small series of hijinks that end with them having a number of like contractors and painters over to basically fix the entire house after like a outlet blows out and a drop of varnish hits the carpet and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So, it's a little lacking for those two characters who are also like a core part of the heart of the show. But like this is a really good Hank and Peggy episode.
It really is, though. It really is.
And, I mean, that's the thing with like an ensemble cast this large. That's why a huge chunk of our opening script was just like listing people. And then eventually I had to stop listing voice actors.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're going to probably do that quite a lot with this season. So it is what it is.
Yeah. That like, with a cast this big, there are episodes that sometimes just leave out the other half of the cast.
Yeah.
There are plenty of like Dale and Nancy episodes there are plenty of John Redcorn episodes. There are plenty of the kids episodes. There are plenty of the adults episodes. And this is a good adult episode, I think. I think it like it shows Hank's weird hangups.
Yeah, it does.
It shows like the weird relationship between Peggy and Hank and their weird differing interests. And I'm going to stop saying the word weird now. I don't know. I like how they connect together at the end. Also, nicely shows off the neighbors.
Yeah, it does. It has a little bit of everything. And I don't know if I'm the best person to make this assertion because I am very, very familiar with the show, but it does kind of feel like this might be an episode that would be a good introductory episode for people who are not familiar with the characters as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, pilots can get a little awkward sometimes.
Yeah.
Just because they got to cram so much in there. There's they're clunky. They're not refined. They're the beginning of a show. They're testing it out. I don't remember if the pilot for this show was particularly clunky. But
I honestly do not remember. I don't remember at all.
Okay, looking at the pilot, Strickland propane salesman and family man Hank Hill is accused of beating his son Bobby.
Oh, I remember now. I
Oh boy, what
remember
a start.
now. That's
After Bobby
right.
gets a black eye from getting hit in the face with a baseball during a Little League game, rumors
Yeah.
spread that Hank beat up the teenage Megalomart employee when he
Yep.
really just yelled at him for not knowing about a tap and die and some WD-40.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Hank's friends, conspiracy nut, yada, yada, yada. Right, okay, yeah. I don't know. That's a fine episode.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not a slog.
Right.
I'll say that.
I think the next episode where Peggy has to teach sex ed is much funnier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell, so is Order of the Straight Arrow, where
Yeah.
they accidentally kill that endangered bird.
Yep.
I guess that's another thing I want to say is that I think season 1 and 2 of the show are like perfect.
Yeah.
I think they're really fucking good.
I think they are too.
For any sitcom, I think your average season might have some strong hits or misses.
Uh-huh.
And also, I know for The Simpsons, and I'm sure this is the case for plenty of adult sitcoms that have run a certain length, there is considered a golden period and all that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think like season 1 and 2, and probably 3 as well, like are a real strong opener of this show.
Yeah.
Things feel fresh and funny. I've watched this show like 3 times, and I actually don't think I've ever made it past season 4.
Really? I wonder why
Not
that
because
is.
I think anything past huh?
I said I wonder why that is.
Well, not that I think anything past that is bad. I think I just run out of momentum because I always
Yeah,
marathon
it is. It is a very long in the tooth series. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think I just hit the point where like, oh god, I've been watching this for like 5 days. I should do something else.
Yes.
And every time I restart, I never start over from there.
Yeah.
Episode 5 is when Luann breaks up with Buckley. Episode 6 is the constipation episode.
Oh God.
Cotton shows up in 8. Con shows up in 7.
Yep.
No, I think this is a really good first season at the very least.
It is.
So that's my take.
Awesome.
My friend and Texan, what's the deal with King of the Hill for you?
I mean, King of the Hill was a show that I watched because I liked Beavis and Butthead as a child. Beavis and Butthead was definitely catering to my demographic because I was, God, I don't know. How old was I? Was a kid. I was a child, definitely.
You're like 10?
Yeah, something like that. And so when King of the Hill came out, it was actually a combination of, or when I was first introduced to King of the Hill, it was a combination of Beavis and Butthead and Office Space, the film, which I also loved. And again, like, which you don't really understand its full complexity unless you've worked in that environment. So I don't know. It's just, it's a love letter to Texas. I adore all of the characters. I think that there is a wholesomeness to it. It toes the line constantly between like being overtly offensive, which it never ever really is, and you know, trying to be a little more wholesome. I saw you make a face. I do not think it is offensive in the same way that it's more microaggressively offensive than shows like you know, Family Guy or whatever. Like it's offensive in the way that you have to understand the nuance behind it to understand why it's offensive.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like farts and butts and whatever. Like, you know, it's very like, oh, that's a terrible thing to say, you know, like when Cotton talks, for example.
Yeah, for sure. And it certainly does make, King of the Hill is like, the point of it isn't, oh, look how many boundaries we're pushing.
Exactly.
Like some other shows we might cover later today.
Yeah. It's not out to push boundaries, really.
Yeah. I will say, I think a big problem with this show is that Con is voiced by a white guy.
Yeah. That was done a lot back then, unfortunately.
Sure. If we cover The Simpsons, we'll have to talk about the same thing.
Yeah, well, and also...
There's a documentary film about that problem.
Did you watch that?
I did. I really liked it.
I watched it too, and I liked it a lot too.
I actually watched that documentary before I ever watched an episode of The Simpsons.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I only watched The Simpsons. I only started watching The Simpsons like last year during the pandemic.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
During the pandemic. During that first wave.
During the first wave, when it first started. Yeah.
When it was all on Disney Plus, let's say.
Yeah.
And, you know, certainly we've talked about that casting issue in the past. with BoJack
I
Horseman
was just about to mention that. Yeah. Yeah.
um, and well, anyway. But like here, he's doing like a really exaggerated South Asian accent,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like uncomfortable.
It really is. Yeah.
You know, I would say I wish that had changed, but yeah, like the point of the show is not. It's not to push cultural buttons. You know,
Yeah.
the characters are. I'm not going to say capital R Republican, but I am going to say like soft C conservative.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
because they're like a suburban family. And like that's not a Texas thing, that's a the suburbs thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And it clearly vilifies the people in this community that are more racist and misogynist
Sure.
in the form of Cotton and, you know, other like, you know, episode villains and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and certainly Hank and Peggy have some progressive values as well. Which is why I say
sure.
like soft C conservative and not hard R Republican.
Right. 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 And that's why I think that this show is appealing, particularly to people who live in Texas, because there is a lot of nuance in general with that kind of thing. And I think that it's very well showcased in these characters.
Yeah. You as a resident, and obviously me as a, I don't know, politically conscious person, know that like Texas, the people of Texas are not the bad guy.
Right, right.
Texas, the government of Texas is the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ted Cruz is the asshole, not the residents of Arlen.
Yeah.
Arlen, a town that doesn't exist, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that there are, as with any state that has been gerrymandered to death, it's not like, let's not act like everyone who lives there is the bad guy.
Right.
And I think this show does a good job at showing the nuance of that.
I agree.
You know, if you broke down my hometown, it would probably be more conservative than the average.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, mine too. Yeah, mine too, for sure.
Look, I'm sure you hate this as well, but God, I hate every time there's like discourse on Twitter around like, let's just cut off the southern United States. Fuck them.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, y'all,
dumb
all
motherfucker.
right.
You don't know who lives
That's
there.
just such a reductive thing. Like, but you know, those are the same kind of people who have a tendency to be like, Sarah Cooper is so funny, or I love Randy Rainbow, or whatever. So I try not to like pay attention to what they say too much, because it's clear that they just like to be fed a bunch of horse shit like everybody else.
It's self-righteousness, and I can't stand it.
Yeah, me too. I can't stand it either.
So yeah, no, I think then if that's the case, I think King of the Hill is pretty anti-reductive in that sense.
Yeah, I agree.
It's, you know, look at the depth and breadth of this community,
right?
Which is something I can appreciate.
Yeah,
without it necessarily being, I don't want to throw Parks and Rec under the bus, but without it necessarily being as like straightforward as like, you know, Leslie's the hyper liberal one and Ron's the libertarian one,
right? You know? Yeah.
It's not the red character versus the blue character. It's
right.
You know, hey, everyone's got their strengths and faults here, except for Cotton, who's all faults.
Who's just fucking terrible.
who's just a monster.
Just really bad.
And I like that. I don't know. I like how it depicts.
Yeah.
Suburban life, and I think that's the kind of suburbanness that's everywhere. I know it's unique to Texas in some respects, but I think we all have a part of our state that has that.
Yeah, I agree.
Critical question for you.
All right, let's hear it.
Have you, much like this Boggle tournament, and much like the lawnmower convention, have you ever been to weird expo center nonsense in either your hometown or where you live now or anything?
No, not really. Like, not in Austin. It's a little different here because we get, you know, Austin's a big city. It's the capital of Texas. We get all kinds of weird shit here. But as far as like, you know, a lawnmower convention or what have you, I haven't really been to, although I guess we do have crawfish festivals. We do have those, you know, stuff like that, I guess. So I've seen some small town things, but mostly like my town was so small growing up that it was just the county fair, which was just like those like dodgy out of the box rides and stuff. So yeah. Oh wait, and I forgot about the spam toss. There was like a spam toss that I went to once. I completely forgot about that. So when I was in high school, my friend Rebecca and I went to this thing called a spam toss, and it was held outside of a gas station, and they had like a target, and you had to bring your own spam, And it's literally what it sounds like. You take the Spam out of the can, you toss it, you try to hit the bullseye. That's it. That's the event.
There was just something about. First of all, that's incredible.
I know, right?
There was just something about it being a lawnmower convention, like across the street from the Boggle tournament. During that opening commercial where they're like, 1,000 oil paintings must be sold, or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
Where I was just like, I've been to something like this.
Oh, sure.
Both Oregon State Fair, but also like I've been to weird things up at the Rose Garden or the Memorial Coliseum, which are our two big like super venues up here in Portland.
Yeah.
That have been like the Christmas craft fair, like plus there's a magician, like it's just like
plus there's whatever you just throw everything in the pot.
yeah, everyone's got like community like craft fair booths, and they're selling like handmade ornaments or nutcrackers,
Right.
but also like there's like a dividing curtain, and on that side is like the World United Broadband concert
Yes.
or convention, like that one X-Files episode where they go to like the Internet Expo.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I hadn't thought about that one, but yeah, it's just all that weird random, and that's another way in which it just feels very lived in. Very very salt of the earth kind of atmosphere with this show. Yeah.
Yeah, where I've been like, oh, I've been to events like this.
Sure.
They weren't about lawnmowers. They were like PuppetCon 2020.
Right.
Or I guess more realistically, PuppetCon 1999.
Yep.
Or stuff like that. But like, a combination of that and, who is it? What organization is running that first Boggle group?
Say what now? Repeat that.
What fraternal order is running that
Oh
first
God,
Boggle?
I don't even remember. The Kiwanis? Was it the Kiwanis?
Well, it's not Eagles. They're not called the Eagles.
No, I think it's the Kiwanis Club.
Elks.
The Elks. Okay.
It was a combination of like, those kind of conventions, and also they're like, yeah, they're doing a Boggle tournament at the old Elks Lodge to raise money to get their treasurer out of prison or whatever.
Right.
And I was thinking like, oh, I mean, I've been to like Boy Scouting events that have been held at an Elks Lodge.
Sure.
That kind of stuff. And like, again, I know there's stuff that's unique to Texas specifically, but like all of it just feels like deeply suburban.
Yeah.
Whether that's, Elks Lodges or like weird multi-use conventions, or like, oh, holy shit, did you hear the Boggle tournament is in town? Like it's the circus.
Yeah.
Or
That's
the
very
circus,
true.
for that matter.
Well, yeah, or just the circus. Yeah, which shouldn't be a thing anymore, but whatever.
Well, the animal part anyway.
Yeah.
I'm pro clown as a clown myself.
Sure, clowns are great, but the animals. Although now they seem to be having like they seem to be more in a trend of foregoing the animals entirely and advertising that. Like there have been circuses that have come to town that have been like, we don't do that. We don't have animals here.
Oh yeah, that's been a big push. I think Barnum and Bailey specifically dropped their entire elephant thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with tigers and whatnot, but I know they dropped the elephants.
Well, good.
As they should. Those animals are too big to be shoved on trains.
Agreed.
And honestly, the tigers shouldn't be there either.
Yeah.
Horses are probably fine. I'm just going to make a list if that's okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fun depiction of suburban life. Like all of it, not just that episode, but like when they have the Megalomart concert with Chuck Mangione.
Yes. Oh my God. That was so awesome.
I've been to enough like zoo concerts and library signing events, like that kind of stuff. It feels like a real town.
Yeah.
Much in the same way Bob's Burgers for sure does with like that one like crab bake episode or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, all the stuff that happens on the wharf really makes you feel like, oh, it's a tight-knit little situation.
Yeah, I've been to that. My parents like aren't Elks or anything, but they've absolutely been involved in like similar like community efforts or whatever, especially in the 90s.
Right.
Not like Rotary Club, but like we're fundraising to get the school new crossing guards or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, but in a way that Bob's Burgers also does, but in the way like Simpsons never quite feels like a real place.
Yeah.
because Simpsons is so
Right. There's so much like the zaniness that goes off beyond what could be accomplished by humans and that kind of thing.
yeah.
I get it. I get
Whereas
it. Well, Bob's
King of
Burgers
the
does that too, though, but King of the Hill doesn't do it as much.
yeah, for sure. And it's enough that like I can kind of look at it and go like, oh hey, I live there.
Ha ha ha! I do that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. Empathetic characters, fun setting, good stories.
Awesome.
It's fun to talk like Boomhauer.
Oh God, yeah. I love it because I could definitely say that it's easier to understand him now than it was when I first moved here. I could definitely say that. That's very true.
I'm firmly in the camp where I get the gist of it.
Sure. Sure.
I'm like,
And that's
okay,
all
I
you
know
really
what he
need.
said.
That's all you really need.
Yeah. Yeah, just some really smart writing. Obviously, I guess we'll get to favorite jokes in a bit, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's clever. There's a lot of jokes that are just reaction shots.
Yeah.
Which is hard to like perfectly nail in animation.
Right.
But yeah, it looks good.
Does look good. It's great for so many reasons. The continuity is also really good, which isn't something, like we don't really know about that quite yet, but it definitely is faithful to its continuity and its storylines.
Well, that's a thing we've talked about with this show as we move into maybe not this season, but in future seasons, more narrative media. Is that, with sitcoms and animated sitcoms, networks prefer if there isn't change, so that in syndication,
Yeah,
that's the name of the show.
it is. You did the thing. You
I did
said
the
the thing. Ah,
So that when they air, they can air in whatever order
right,
in syndication, and they can just, license it to TBS, or I guess now put it up all up on Hulu.
right.
Oh wow, this is owned by Disney now.
Oh, okay. Well, what is it?
So that it can air in whatever order, and they can just get ad revenue and licensing and whatnot when they send it off to like TBS or whatever,
Right.
and any of those cable channels that want to run it for a bit. So yeah, that means there usually in these shows isn't like a ton of like episode to episode growth, or kind of sort of not really season arcs. But in this show, there kind of is a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Certainly, like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, and I'm wondering to myself if it's even true.
Okay.
But like, there aren't like season arcs, and it doesn't ever feel like characters are like super moving forward.
Right.
But it does kind of feel like they know what happened to them.
Okay. Yeah.
You know
Yeah, I
what
know
I
what
mean?
you mean. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Like they have a past, even if they don't have a future.
Right, right,
But their future selves also have that past.
right. Yeah.
Like
I said, continuity.
continuity. Yeah, exactly.
It's awesome.
Which is a weird line to walk in like a 259 episode.
Sure, sure. It's a weird line to walk in any show where the characters wear the same outfits all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Leslie, with that in mind, you got any favorite gags?
Yeah. Well, so this show is full of amazing one-liners and fantastic, just very witty, snippy jokes. But I think that my favorite one in this episode was definitely where Luann and Peg were talking about Boggle, and Luann says, boy, Aunt Peg, the words I don't know could fill a dictionary. That was definitely a line that made me laugh out loud when I heard it. Yeah.
So fucking clever.
Oh, yeah, it's so clever.
That's the kind of like, look, maybe it's because there isn't literally a laugh track, but like that's what I mean by the more subtle humor. Like that line is just that's a spoken line, and then they say the next line.
Yeah.
And there's no pause. There's no reaction shot. There's no applause. It's just
it's just so good though.
Damn, a good joke.
Yeah, it was real good.
Or
my favorite one, in fact.
Like that, or like, casual jokes with like where Min's just like, bring your checkbook as she leaves after she threatens to teach.
She's like, I'll teach you how to play
Peggy,
mahjong.
how to play mahjong.
Yeah, bring your checkbook.
It's just like, I don't know. It's a lived-in world, and like this is only 9 episodes in, but when you
which is impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, when you nail your characters down that quickly and easily, and they're so like it's so easy to get into these characters' heads.
Yeah.
They all have very clear voices, I guess is what I mean to say.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes like I don't know, sites like BuzzFeed or so will do like a, is this a Trump quote or did Mr. Krabs say it or something
Right.
like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like you could give me like a handful of quotes from this show and I could be like, oh, for sure that's a Dale line.
Oh God, yeah. Like one of the other ones that I enjoyed, but only because of how terrible Dale is when he's like, when he's like, I hate to see Nancy cooped up all Sunday playing that boggle. It's a beautiful day. She ought to be outside hanging my laundry. Like,
I
dude,
know, he's so bad.
dude, you suck.
But like
But what,
even going back to the relatability of these characters, like even Dale has some like really likable moments.
sure, he's
Like what is it?
nuanced.
There's that season 2 episode where he like takes all the ants onto his body to save Hank's lawn
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
um during the ant infestation. Oh, I
Uh
guess it's to
huh.
get them off of Bobby specifically.
Ah,
Like he's a jerk and he, has some suspicious politics, but like he's still your neighbor.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's still gonna let you borrow sugar or eggs if you need it or whatever. So it's complicated.
Mhm.
It's a complicated relationship with complicated people.
Yeah. But that's what we're talking about when we say character nuance like that.
Right.
My favorite bit, there's a lot of really good jokes in this one. I mean, that's the thing. This episode's also just funny as hell.
Oh yeah, just so many one-liners and so many clever jokes that just blink and you'll miss them, but they're so funny.
I think two of my favorite jokes are when Hank is going to go check into the hotel. And he keeps saying like, I've got a room for Hank Hill, and the
Oh
concierge is like,
yeah,
I've got Peggy Hill, and it's like, no, 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 it's that's my wife, yeah, but I'm Hank Hill. He's like, okay, well the
right.
room's for Peggy Hill. He's like, yeah, but I'm her husband. He's like, okay, got it, Mr. and Mrs. Peggy Hill. And he starts going on a little bit of a rant and is like pounding his fist on the table. He goes,
Right.
no, damn it, listen to me. My name is Hank Hill, etc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Every time his every time his hand hits the table,
Uh,
it hits the bell,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
the
yeah.
front desk bell.
You're right.
And every time it goes off, another bellhop appears behind him with like in that kind of like military rest position,
Uh-huh.
like hands behind the back, legs a little bit apart, like waiting to take his bags when he turns around. And
Yeah.
he finally turns around after going on this rant where he's like repeatedly hitting the desk. And there's like no less than 10 dudes behind him,
Yeah, it's pretty magical.
all waiting to take his like 2 suitcases, and just has like, oh, where did you all come from kind of moment.
Yeah.
Um, and like, that's a joke in which it's not like stated until the punchline or whatever.
Right.
It's
Right.
just something happening in the background. And
Right.
honestly, you probably don't even notice it when like the first two show up, but all of a sudden there's 10
Yeah,
people
you're
back
like, wait a second. There are more now. Is this been happening every time?
I like that joke, and for some reason I really like I like when they do the fake risky business moment.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. With Bobby in his underwear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you can hear it's the Tom Cruise
Uh huh.
sliding into the room like backwards in his underwear.
To old time rock and roll.
Yeah. Um, and it turns out literally that Luann is watching that movie and Bobby happens to be doing laundry. That
Right.
is not an intentional homage
Right.
from the
Quote unquote.
characters.
Wink, wink.
Right. It's a
Yeah.
series of events that leads up to that depiction.
Right.
Um, and it turns out to be a Chuck Mangione fire safety video. What? I guess actually that's maybe one more thing we can talk about
Okay.
is what is this show's deal with Chuck Mangione?
I don't know. They're really into Chuck Mangione on this show.
I just love this. I love this bit that, well, first of all, he's a national hero
Right.
because he has been opening Megalomarts, like 250 Megalomart
Yeah,
stores
he's like
a
the
year.
spokesperson for Megalomart.
Yeah. That happens at the end of the second season, I want to say, where he's like, yeah, I'm opening 250 Megalomarts this
Yeah.
year. I'm
Yeah.
always on the road. I haven't seen my family in years.
Yeah.
But like specifically the town of Arlen is obsessed with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's, look, after watching King of the Hill earlier this summer, I got to agree. He's real good.
I mean, Chuck Mangione, man. Apparently, I guess he misread his contract, and so he's responsible for appearing at like every store opening so he can't see his family because they open like 400 stores a year. Megalomart does. That's
That's
like,
it. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's so fucking funny. You can see like albums of hit. Like he has a pretty famous like first album
yeah.
cover
I think
of him
that,
like hugging a French horn. You can see that in the background of plenty of
yeah,
shots. All of a
yeah.
sudden, commercials will come on and be like, and now Chuck Mangione for more.
And I think that the best part about the whole gag is that Chuck Mangione voices himself. Like
Yeah,
that is for
absolutely.
really reals Chuck Mangione. Like that's fantastic.
Also, in response to his relationship with the show, Chuck Mangione in 2000 released a song called Peggy Hill.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's also a good listen. I
That's
don't know. That's just
fantastic.
like I think that's just like such a weird texture of this show,
Yeah.
and I like it a lot. I think it's cool. It's just a weird quirk that I don't know adds to the flavor.
It sure does. It's a beautiful thing, really.
My my last favorite joke um, is just that when they are doing the final tournament,
Uh-huh.
uh, the two spokespeople who are doing the announcements are just on the hospitality channel. This is not broadcast like on
Yeah.
local news
Right, right,
or
right.
anything.
Right.
This is not a filmed special. They are literally just broadcasting for the hospitality channel,
Right.
which is so funny to me because anyone staying at the only people who can see that are people who are staying in the hotel
Right.
and they can just walk downstairs to be
And
there.
watch it. Yeah. Hey, sometimes you're, I don't know, working out in the fitness center at the hotel and want to see it. You can do both at once. Multitask.
Yeah.
It's an amenity, Ben.
The exact same energy of like my roommates texting me while they're in the kitchen.
Right.
I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. You could just,
I'll come over to you.
Yeah.
I think that's about it for King of the Hill. Oh, actually, one more thing. I like how even minor characters get like a ton of humanity, but also like, I don't know, they have like their little quirks. Like
Uh-huh.
Sissy Cobb, Laurie Metcalf's character in this,
Oh
like just has
yeah.
this
Oh yeah.
annoying as hell laugh.
Yeah.
She like has like a weird like scream laugh that's really funny. The person, the hospitality coordinator who comes to greet Hank and Peggy, like has like this thick Minnesotan accent for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When she's like, "Do you want to make a wallet? I think you'd like to make a wallet." You know, I just I don't know. I like that even it's extras. It's like single episode characters.
still
Are pretty
carefully
fucking memorable.
done. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like a level of memorability that I don't think I normally have for most guest stars.
Yeah.
Especially when on this show, for the scripts at the beginning, I have to like go in and find out like where certain people are from. And like I'll see, blank was on a single episode of like 30 Rock or whatever, and I'm like, I don't remember that at all.
Right.
Like when was he on The Office or anything like that?
Uh-huh.
Whereas I don't know, like I think the extras or special guest characters on this show are pretty intensely memorable, I think.
Yeah.
Folks, I think that's it for King of the Hill. Really
Yep.
excited to talk about adult animation with you, my friend.
Yay, I'm excited to talk about it with you too.
We haven't booked all of our guests yet. We don't know the full depth and breadth of this season, but Leslie, is there anything, aside from our staff picks, anything you hope we get into?
Oh geez. There are so many good ones. I can't even begin to quantify them. I definitely hope we don't get into the usuals that people like when they think of a quote unquote adult animation. Oh, I think that I would like to see a little Midnight Gospel. I don't know if you've ever watched that or not, but that is very good.
No, I haven't, but I know it's yeah,
It's good.
Netflix put that out like 2 years ago. I want
Yeah,
to say.
something like that. About a year ago, maybe. I don't know. It's really good. I don't know. What about you?
I'm hoping that we don't just. I know I said this toward the beginning. I hope it's not just stoner comedy.
Sure.
That I obviously look. I love that genre, but I don't partake myself. But I love that genre. But like, I know for a fact we're covering the Netflix Castlevania series.
Uh-huh.
I hope we get into, I guess, how broad adult animation can be.
Right.
That it isn't just Family Guy and Rick and Morty and Tuca and Birdie and
Sure.
all those kind of shows, Futurama, that kind of
Sure.
stuff. That there's a lot more there and there's a lot of potential there.
Uh-huh.
Not that stoner comedy is bad. Again, I enjoy it.
Sure, but there's a lot more
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more we can explore than just that.
And And as I'm sure I've mentioned earlier, like I'm excited to explore a genre that's 30 years old.
Sure.
Workplace comedies have been around since the beginning of TV.
That's very true. As we went over last season.
With few exception, most of these shows, like the earliest of them, are from like 1994.
Right.
Simpsons is like 89. Beavis and Butthead is like 93.
It's the 90s, yeah.
Yeah, and most of the other shows like Futurama, South Park, all that kind of stuff, are all like 97 through 99.
Sure.
And there's been a huge boom of like HBO Max shows and Netflix animated stuff, in the last like 5-10 years.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how like short that timeline is. How condensed it is, rather.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I'm really excited to dig into that.
Yeah, it's going to be a journey.
Leslie, where can people find you?
Oh, people can find me at Vanetti on Twitter, VANETTI, where I do talk about this show. I talk about the shows that we talk about. I talk about other shows that we might not talk about. I like TV, y'all, and other stuff as well. Ben, what about you?
Speaking of my personal Twitter, that's Ben C. Hamlin. That is BENCHAMLIN. Over on Twitter.com. You can also follow the show Syndicated, WLAB. That's Syndicated with Leslie and Ben. Over on Twitter.com as well. We retweet television memes. Sometimes we make original posts about what we're watching.
Yep.
Good way to stay in touch with the show and stay in touch with us.
It's a real fun time.
I retweet a lot of Seinfeld content on there.
Yep.
But to be fair, it just got added to Netflix, and a lot of people are rewatching it and making memes about it. You can check out my other work, Parascience, a paranormal tabletop podcast over at infinitybreak.net, and you can check out all of our work over at infinitybreak.net. Incidentally, you can also check out patreon.com/infinitybreak if you want to directly support this show. There will be, by the time you're listening to this, a full bonus episode about the Righteous Gemstones up on there. That is kind of the crown, the gemstone-laden crown of our first season of Workplace Comedies. We recorded a little bonus episode for you, and I know for a fact that we have other bonus episodes coming, including, I believe we're talking about Only Murders in the Building sometime soon, because that show just came to an end.
Yeah, we should talk about that for sure. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about adult animation with you, Leslie. I'm excited to talk with our various guests. I know we haven't booked the whole season yet, but we have a good lineup to come, and I'm real excited about it.
Oh yeah, I'm thrilled. I can't wait.
Stay tuned, because in about 2 weeks' time, we're going to have an interdimensional adventure while we talk about Rick and Morty.
Yep.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.